Hello, this is a clapperboard, an iconic tool on any film set, and today we're going to make sure you know how to use one. I'm Liam from CineStore, your go-to supplier for filmmaking consumables right here in the UK. From gaffer tape to lens cleaning and much more, we've got you covered. Today we're going to dive into the world of clapperboards, an essential for any filmmaker. Clapperboards have been around since the early days of filmmaking. They used to look something like this, where you wrote in chalk, but we have modernised them a little bit since then, and they're now made of acrylic with resin sticks, but fundamentally serve the same purpose. They provide visual information for the editors, and then in filmmaking, audio and visuals are quite often recorded in separate ways. So we need a way of synchronising those two things together in the edit, and that's what the clap serves the purpose for. So let's talk about the two different elements that make up a clapperboard. There's the clapper sticks, which we use to make the audio and visual clap, and then we've got the board itself, which carries all the information. Now let's go through what all that information is. There's two main categories of information on the board. There's the production information and the shot information. Now the production information doesn't generally change, and that's the title of what you're filming, and then it also carries the director and DOP's names. Then we've got the shot information. I'm going to go through what these are and explain them to you. The scene is the scene you're filming at that time, the scene in the script, and you work with your script supervisor to track that. If you're shooting a TV show with episode numbers, you'd also make a note of that in there. The roll used to refer to the roll of film, but we now use memory cards. So for every change in memory card, we increase that number. Now slate is a way of tracking the current setup. So if you change the camera angle or lens, you change the slate number and increase that. Now for every setup, we might have several attempts of it. And a way of tracking that is through the take number. So for each take of a setup, we increase the take number. So how do we actually use a clapperboard? Well, first off, two key things. We want to make sure that the board is in frame and the camera can see the sticks in the board. And next off, we don't need to say all the information on the board. We're just going to say the slate number and the take number. This is how it will typically go down. So the first assistant director is going to say turnover. Sound will confirm speed, camera will confirm speed, and then you want to enunciate slate 1, take 1, and then you mark. And then at that point you want to move out of frame, and then the take will continue. So far we've been talking about a typical British slating method. Now the Americans use a slightly different method, but it's only one minor difference, and that is that we're combining the scene and the slate number together. So for scene 4, the first setup is 4, and then for the second setup we're adding an alpha, and then a bravo, and every setup we're just keep incrementing that. So alpha, bravo, Charlie, etc. The take number, just as normal, and we increment that for each setup. So sometimes we might see some additional information on a board. In this case, we've got sync and MOS. Are we recording with sound or without sound? Mute off sound. Date, self-explanatory. What date are we filming? Interior, exterior. Are we filming inside or outside? Day and night. Are we filming during the day, during the night? And then we might see some additional things like filter, FPS, frames per second, or lens, and so on. So if you're recording without sound, a way of showing it to the camera is just by putting the board in with the sticks closed. Or another preference is by putting your two fingers in and showing it to the camera that way. So if we're marking a board close to an actor, especially their face, we don't want to be doing a large clap, much like that. So what we do is a soft sticks. And we just enunciate soft sticks, and we do a soft clap, just like that. So sometimes there's going to be situations you're not able to mark a take at the start. This could be that an actor is in a sensitive scene, or you just can't get access to mark the shot. So what we're going to do is mark the shot at the end. So in that way, we come in and we do the reverse as before. This time we mark it, then we announce slate 1, take 1, and then we turn it round as a courtesy to the editor and make it easy to read. So one of the most important things when you're marking a shot is that the sticks come together actually in the frame. But if you're on a tight shot, you might need to coordinate with your operator or your first AC to make sure that the sticks are in frame, and they might tell you to do something like dip the sticks. You just turn it into a 45-degree angle like that, and then you do your mark. Now, if you're in charge of the board, you want to take care of it. You don't want to be leaving it lying around set, you don't want to be dropping it, you don't want to scratch it or anything. You want to present it as best you possibly can. Now in this case, we have used a label printer with a black on clear label. and just makes it look a lot nicer. Now, if you don't have a label printer, you could just use a permanent marker and just write the information on, and that means it doesn't rub out throughout the shooting day. Now, the rest of the information obviously changes throughout your shooting day, and then you want to use a quality whiteboard pen for that. And then to help clean it off, we've got a few things. You could use a Selvit, or in this case, I've got a clean slate. We can just wipe it off with that. Now, as the shooting day goes on, your board can look a little bit dirty, so you can use something like a TF90 or isopropyl alcohol. Just apply it onto a cloth and just clean it off. You'll find various different sizes of boards out there. Now, this is a medium, the standard one that most people use. But if you're doing a wide shot, you might want something like this, a big large board. You do even get bigger than this, but that's the standard large. Or if you're doing a tight shot or a close-up, you might use a small board like this. Or if it's an extreme close-up, you got a credit card size one. Now at Cine Store, we also do custom engraving. So this is standard layouts of a board, but some people like to have additional information, like we talked about earlier on, and the production title. These are engraved. Or you might want a company logo on it. So we've had a company logo here with an emblem up here. Or if you really want to get very creative, you can go full colour and have a full colour printed board, and you can have that laid out however you want. Now, these are professional clapperboards, and they're made for the trials and tribulations of life on set, and they're constructed of an engraved board. And then on the top here we have film sticks, clapper sticks. Now let me tell you a little bit more about the sticks. First off, they've got an adjustable tension, so you can tighten them or loosen them to your preference. Secondly, we've got a magnet here. That helps with your clap and also holds them together when you're walking about on set. Third, we've got a ridge, and that helps stop light gap coming through. And lastly, they're made of a resin material, so they're incredibly robust and they'll last a very long time. Now that's how you use a clapperboard. In the description, you'll find a handy downloadable PDF, which expands a little bit on what we've talked about today. And if you are in the market for a professional clapperboard, check us out at cinestore.co.uk. Thank you.